Hello everyone, how are you? I hope you all of you are fine and sound at your home. So we are discussing the food analysis or analytical methods of foods in our paper, that is CHA 393. Up to this we have covered the introductory part and the different analytical methods for moisture, total solid and ash analysis. Today we are going to see our new chapter, new lesson, that is analysis of lipids. Analysis of lipids. So these lipids and fats are the some similar terms that are used in food chemistry or in biochemistry. So the first topic is definition of lipids. So lipids are these are the group of substances or molecules or compounds which are hydrophobic in nature. Hydrophobic. These are the group of substances or compounds found in the food or found in the materials, okay, either plant origin or animal origin, and they are generally hydrophobic in nature. So what are hydrophobic in nature? Hydro means water and phobic means to repel. So these are the molecules which are repelling the water molecules. We know that water is a polar solvent, water is polar molecule. So that's why these molecules are repelling, okay, or hating the water molecules. So that's why these are generally non-polar in nature. According to the principle of like dissolves like, LDL, water is a polar, and as these lipids or fats molecules are repelling water, so that's why they are not soluble in water. They are insoluble in water. So that's why this is the meaning of hydrophobic. Okay, so accordingly we can say that these lipids and fats are non-polar in nature. Okay, so these are the group of substances or compounds which are non-polar in nature and which are water insoluble or water hating or water repelling molecules. Okay, there is no any scientific definition, clear-cut definition is not there of lipids. Okay, so these lipids compounds or the fat compounds are the very broad term, or it is a general term. So that's why we can also say that analysis of lipids or analysis of fats. Okay, so this is a very broad term. Okay, then next topic is the classification. So what is general classification of lipids is done into three categories, and these are simple lipids, compound lipids and derived lipids. So simple lipids are of again two types. They are either fats or waxes. Fats and waxes. So what are fats? Fats and waxes are the simple lipids. So what are fats? Fats are the triglycerides. Triglycerides. Fats are the triglycerides. Tri means 3 and glycerides means these are the molecules which are obtained by the combination of glycerol and fatty acids. Triglycerides of fatty acids, triglycerides of fatty acids and glycerol. Okay, so fatty acids, we know that these are the long chain aliphatic acids which are known as fatty acids. They may contain carbon atoms more than 8, 9, 10, 11, etc. Okay, and glycerol is the simple molecule, that is CH2OH, CHOH and CH2OH. So this is the molecule of glycerol. Okay, so it is a triol, 1, 2, 3 triol. 3 hydroxy groups are there, 1, 2, 3 triol. And when these hydrogen atoms of this alcohol are are replaced by the fatty acid, and there is a formation of ester linkage OCOR OCOR OCOR. So these all are the RCO. These are the parts, or they are coming from the fatty acid chains. Okay, so these are the ester linkage. We call these molecules as triglycerides. So this is the simple or general formula of triglycerides, and all fats are derived from the triglycerides of fatty acids and glycerol. Okay. Now waxes. So what are these waxes? Waxes are generally the triglycerides of fatty acids and long chain alcohols. Long chain of alcohols. So instead of glycerol, if the acid chain or in the ester molecule, if acid is coming from the fatty acid, then the alcohol moiety is coming from the long chain alcohol, R dash. Okay, so this R dash are coming from the alcohol moiety, and this R dash also long chain, whereas this R is also having a long chain. This is from the fatty acids, this is from the alcohol moiety. Okay, so these are the waxes. Now the next classification is compound type of lipids. So what are the compound type of lipids? These are phosphoglycerides, cerebrosides and sphingosides. Okay, so phosphoglycerides are nothing but these are the triglycerides of fatty acids, glycerol and phosphoric acid. Okay, so phosphoglycerides are the triglycerides of fatty acids, glycerol and phosphoric acid. Okay, then cerebrosides are the triglycerides of fatty acids and carbohydrates. Triglycerides of fatty acids and carbohydrates, whereas the sphingosides are the triglycerides of fatty acids, then glycerol and nitrogen containing compounds. So these are forming compound lipids, and the third one is called as derived lipids. So these derived lipids are derived either from the neutral and compound lipids. So this is the third type. Okay, originally they are from the neutral, that is simple and compound lipids. Now next point is content of lipids in food. So the food is having different constituents such as carbohydrates, proteins, then lipids and fats, okay, then water, moisture, etc. So out of these, along with that, when our food is having lipid or fat material which is in liquid state, so liquid triglycerides of the food are known as oils. It is known as oils. So oils are nothing but oils that are the different forms of oils that we are using here in our cooking oil. Then different cooking oils are there, that is soybean oil, sunflower oil, then groundnut oil, then other oil seeds are there. Okay, so the oil derived from them is in liquid form, and that is nothing but liquid triglycerides, whereas the solid triglycerides it is called as fats. Solid triglycerides are known as fats. So these oils are generally plant origin, and the fats are generally animal origin. Okay, Now the next point is the sample preparation. Sample preparation means how to prepare a sample for the analysis of that lipids and fats. Generally these lipids and fats are analyzed by doing extraction in particular solvent, and that's why for the extraction purpose we have to prepare a sample of that food. Then and then we can extract that lipids which are present in that food sample by extraction technique. Okay, so that sample preparation is one of the most important step. So how to do sample preparation? As per the literature, there is no any scientific procedure for preparation of sample for the analysis of lipids and fats. Okay, but a general precaution is taken that the sample is prepared under inert atmosphere of nitrogen. Why it is so? It is used, the nitrogen gas atmosphere is used to avoid the lipid oxidation. Once that lipid is present in our food is get oxidized, then the determined value of that lipid which we are calculating by doing extraction is not correct one. So that's why to avoid lipid oxidation we must use inert atmosphere of nitrogen gas. Then next point is pre-drying of sample. Pre-drying of sample is what? Now we have to extract that sample by using a organic solvent. So that's why, as we know that these lipids are hydrophobic in nature, means they are water hating or water repelling. It means that these lipids and fats are soluble in organic solvents such as diethyl ether, petroleum ether, pentane, hexane. Okay, so all these solvents are that I have told you right now: ether, petroleum ether, then hexane, pentane. These are all non-polar solvents, and so that's why, as I already told you, that like dissolves like, so our lipids are also non-polar in nature, so they are soluble in non-polar organic solvents such as diethyl ether, dimethyl ether, petroleum ether, pentane, hexane, etc. Okay, so that's why we are extracting such lipids which are present in the food sample in our organic solvents, or mixture of solvents can be used. Okay, so that's why we have to do extraction. So for the extraction to do, we must have a pre-dried sample of our food. If the sample of our food is not dried, means it is in moist condition or it is having some moisture, then it may give wrong interpretation of our data. So that's why pre-drying of sample before the solvent extraction process is must. Then particle size reduction. Next point is particle size reduction. Particle size reduction is general procedure, that is mean nothing but grinding. And for grinding we know that what we are using. We are using different types of equipments such as grinder or mortar and pestle. Okay, if the sample size is larger in size, then we can also use different equipment such as grinder, etc. So because this particle size reduction is directly related to the extraction of that lipids into that organic solvent. Okay, so efficiency of extraction, note down as efficiency of extraction from that food material into that organic solvent is directly proportional to the particle size. So that's why particle size is very important in case of solvent extraction of lipids. Now acid hydrolysis. Next point is acid hydrolysis. We can also do direct solvent extraction. Direct solvent extraction means whatever the food sample we have. For example, we have a bread, milk bread, or we have a cheese, or we have any food material such as potato chips, let us say, very simple, potato chips. Okay, so the main component in potato chips is these are carbohydrates, but some fats are also present along with that food sample. Okay, some minimum fats are also present. So if we are taking meat or fishes, so these are the largest source of animal fats. Okay, so that's why in this case the fat nutrient content is very high. So that's why in such cases the fat analysis is very important. Okay, and hence if we do direct solvent extraction of that fats or lipids in organic solvents, then it could give wrong results, because our fats and lipids which are present in the food material, they are generally binded to the proteins, nitrogenous substances, carbohydrates, etc. Okay, and the bonding between them may be either covalent bonding or ionic bonding. Okay, so if we do direct extraction, solvent extraction of that material, food material, into the organic solvent, then along with that some other material could be extracted into our organic solvent. So that's why to avoid that we must do acid hydrolysis. So acid hydrolysis is generally done by using 3 normal hydrochloric acid, by using 3 normal hydrochloric acid, 3 normal and 3 molar hydrochloric acid, one and the same. Okay, because this acid hydrolysis is useful for breaking the bonds between these lipids and proteins, lipids, amino acids, lipids, carbohydrates, which are present in the combined form, which are present in the complex form in the food material. So that's why to break these bonds we must do hydrolysis, because we know that most of the bonds are, so this is a peptide bond, this is a peptide bond which is present in amino acids and proteins, okay, or enzymes, etc. So all these peptide bonds, for example CONH, CON bond, this carbonyl nitrogen bond is broken by using acid hydrolysis. So that's why before going to do extraction process we must do first of all acid hydrolysis is must. Okay, so that's why acid hydrolysis step is one of the important step in lipid analysis. Okay, then the next step is solvent selection. So solvent selection means the choice is depend on the type of molecule, type of food material, okay, nature of food material, size of food material, etc. Here we can use here non-polar solvents that I already told you, that ethyl ether means diethyl ether, then petroleum ether, then pentane, hexane, these are also sometimes used, but ethyl ether and pet ether, they are commonly used solvents for this lipid extraction, because they are having low boiling points. Okay, and when they are evaporated after extraction, when they are evaporated, they does not produce any residue. Okay, so highly pure solvents can be used here. Along with that, mixture of solvents can be used, mixture of 2 to 3 solvents can be applied for that extraction process. Okay, so this is all about the introductory and preliminary information regarding the analysis of lipids and fats. Now let us see the different methods we have in our syllabus, different methods for the extraction of lipids and fats. There are different methods such as continuous method, semi-continuous method and discontinuous method. Continuous means in running, in the flow. Semi-continuous means half-half, and discontinuous means there is no any continuity. Okay, so we can judge by the meaning of that word. Okay, so continuous solvent extraction method is given for us, and the name of the method, title of the method is goldfish method. Goldfish method. Okay, now what is the principle? What is the principle of this method? Okay, so in continuous extraction method there is a number of extractors. Okay, so number of extractors are arranged in a series in a parallel manner. Okay, one after another. Okay, and these extractors are known as solvent extractors. They are known as solvent extractors. So a specific apparatus is used. Okay, I am unable to draw that apparatus here because it is very complicated. Okay, you can just see on Google Images what is the continuous extracted goldfish method. Okay, so in that you can see the pictures of that, or you can also go through the textbook that is given in our reference book. Okay, the picture or method of this goldfish extraction technique. Now in this, what is happening? The sample, what is the principle? Sample continuous flows over sample taken in ceramic extractable thimble, ceramic extraction thimble. Okay, so we are taking a sample in a ceramic extraction thimble. Okay, thimble means one such equipment is there, and in this cavity we can place our sample. Okay, so this is a sample cavity, and we can place our sample in this cavity. Okay, and it is made up of ceramic. So ceramic extraction thimble is there, and we can place our sample here, and the solvent must flow continuously over this ceramic extraction thimble. Okay, this is the principle. Solvent must flow over this, so it must be full of the solvent. Okay, continuously. Then the fat content in this is measured by the weight loss by the sample. Okay, once we are extracting that fat present in our food sample into our organic solvents such as petroleum ether, okay, then the weight loss by the solvent, weight loss by the sample is used to determine the fat content present in the food sample. Okay, now what is the procedure? So what is the procedure? The procedure is very simple. Before start the procedure, we must have the pre-dried sample. We must have pre-dried sample, pre-dried and pre-weighed, pre-dried and pre-weighed sample. Okay, and the ceramic extraction thimble is also previously heated and previously weighed. Okay, it is taken, ceramic extraction thimble is taken, and in that cavity our sample is placed. Okay, then a extraction beaker is taken, which is also weighed previously, the beaker which we are using for the extraction. Okay, so when we are using solvent, then after extraction we must take that recovered solvent in that beaker. Okay, so that beaker is previously weighed. Okay, and it is placed in that apparatus. Then continuous extraction is done for 4 hours. Continuous extraction is done for 4 hours. This is the time, minimum time is 4 hours. We must do continuous extraction. So solvent is flowing over this sample which is taken in ceramic extraction thimble. Okay, a continuous chain is there of these extractors. Okay, and the sample is solvent is moving over this, and finally after running of that sample, we can recover that sample after extraction into a beaker. Okay, that is called as extractable beaker, extraction beaker. Then after this placing of that beaker, that this is heated for about 4 hours. 4 hours heating is there. This whole procedure is done for 4 hours heating. Okay, then allowed to cool, that material is allowed to cool, stop the heating, allowed to cool. Then after getting ambient temperature or room temperature, remove that extraction solvent extraction beaker from that system. Okay, and after that allow that solvent which is extracted solvent to dry air, means allow to vaporize that solvent in air at room temperature as it is overnight. Okay, and after that heat that beaker at 100 degrees Celsius for 30 minutes. Heat that beaker at 100 degrees Celsius for 30 minutes. Okay, and after heating at this time, place the beaker in a desiccator. Okay, and after that weigh that beaker on a digital balance or chemical balance or analytical balance. Now how that food that lipid content or fat content is measured? By using this goldfish method. So calculation part is there. So weight of the fat in sample is calculated by using this formula. It is by weight of the fat in the sample is calculated by weight of the beaker plus weight of the fat. Means in beaker we have extracted fat which is present in the food material, okay, along with that solvent. We are allowed to evaporate that solvent at room temperature overnight and then at 100 degrees Celsius for 30 minutes. Okay, so all that low boiling solvent is get evaporated, no doubt. Now what we remain? This is the weight of beaker plus fat which is extracted in that beaker along with that solvent. So this weight minus weight of beaker, so difference between them will give you the weight of fat only. So percent fat content is given by weight of the fat in gram divided by weight of the weight of the sample taken for analysis into 100. This ratio and this calculation gives you the percentage of fat or lipids present in your food sample. Okay, so this is all about today's lecture. So this is all about the introductory part and the first continuous method, that is goldfish method for the analysis of food. Okay, I think this is this much information is sufficient for this method, goldfish method. Okay, thank you for watching this video. Have a nice day.